Chapter 3. It didn't take long to catch up with Dutch after that. The rookie and I huffed it to the rendezvous point and finally made it within around 10 minutes. If we were still ordinary ODSTs, however, I don't think we would have been that quick. Our Spartan augmentations made us triple the men we once was. We found Dutch, stood on a raised platform in the middle of a valley. The structure that he seemed to have landed on had a kind of spire at the centre that projected up some kind of blue energy into the sky. Whatever it was, we didn't have time to find out. It got dicey very quickly once we joined Dutch. Find anything interesting, Dutch? As soon as I finished that sentence, a strong bolt of plasma burned through the air, straight past the rookie's head. We all immediately took cover and readied our weapons. "Where did that come from?" Dutch shouted. Another blinding hot, high-speed bolt of plasma hit the structure's balcony that we were now using for cover. I took a peek around to try and identify what was gunning for us. I expected it to only be a scouting party of sniper jackals, or at most some confident elite trying his hand to assassinate a demon. My expectations, however, were very quickly shattered once I saw what was really going on. It was as if they was waiting for the right moment to attack. It looked like an entire army of banished making their way through the tree line towards us. Hundreds charging across the open valley whilst the snipers covered their advance. In only a matter of seconds we was pinned down. Returning fire from our current location was not an option. Poking our heads up would give the snipers an easy shot for our heads. But waiting here meant that we were going to be overrun and slaughtered within seconds. The rookie took no time planning his attack. He immediately started slinging what grenades he had at the now charging troops. None of us dared to poke our heads to check if he got any. But the sounds of the brutes and grunts' screaming cries of pain confirmed that he had definitely taken out a few. However, a few certainly wasn't going to be enough. When we all joined the Spartan branch, our ranks from the ODSTs was stripped from us. Alpha 9 would all refer to me as Gunny, even though I was no longer a gunnery sergeant, but I couldn't tell them to stop. And they all still looked up to me just like I still was one. I began giving orders to Dutch and the rookie with haste. "Dutch, have your shotgun ready at the ramp we came up." "Roger that." "Rookie, drop down the back of this structure and flank around the snipers, double time. I'll throw what little explosives we have left and fend off what I can." The rookie gave me a nod of approval and then headed towards the back of the structure and jumped down. That ODST trained Spartan was no rookie. His nickname may have suggested as such, but he was a damn fine soldier. The only reason we gave him that name is because he was the youngest and latest to join Alpha 9. After him, there was nobody else. Did I ever tell you that he single-handedly fought his way through overwhelming odds of Covenant during the Battle of New Mombasa? Kid was a menace of the night. He became the boogeyman for any sleeping grunts that night. He was a great detective too. Managed to find his way to Veronica and the rest of Alpha 9 hours after he had dropped into the city, with no reference to what the mission even was. During the Battle of Earth, as we dropped down from our glorified ODST coffins, the rookie was knocked out cold on his way down, where Mickey's pod smashed into his on the way down. Kid was alone the entire night and still came out of there without any serious injuries. As he dropped to the ground, I watched him fall back into the surrounding tree line, out of sight from anything with eyes. I unhooked a couple frags from my armor's satchel, armed both the grenades and launched them into a high arc over our cover and into the infested valley. The sounds of more pained brutes certainly gave me comfort, but it was short-lived. "Getting a little crowded over here, Gunny," Dutch shouted to me over the sounds of his shotgun booming out. I sprinted over to the ramp, and just as Dutch had to reload, I immediately began peppering the four grunts in line running upwards towards us with the plasma grenades in hand. As they fell, the hot fireballs of plasma dropped to the ground and exploded, leaving the metal structure of the ramp to glow a hot cherry red. I turned back towards the direction of where the banished forces had seemed to have materialized from. Within the tree line behind them, I saw a human figure in the distance, blasting its way through the snipers that they had set up. The rookie charged through the tree line, and Spartan charged the sniper jackal closest to him, launching the bird-like creature into one of the huge trees surrounding them. An audible snap could be heard as the raptor-like creature crumbled against the solid wood of the tree. One of the 4 snipers noticed and turned to the banished slayer. Before it can get a shot off, the rookie ducked and aimed his SMG at the sniper, blasting a spray of armor-piercing bullets straight into its thin frame. As its body hits the floor, the rookie once again takes off, coming up behind one of the remaining 2 jackals, and runs a blade clean through one of the alien's glassy eyes, piercing into its brain. The Spartan then launches his combat knife straight into the last jackal. At such force, it not only knocked the sniper down, but also passed right through its thin body, killing it instantly. With the clearing of the snipers, I began my return of fire onto the waves of banished charging their way towards us. Bolts of plasma scorched what little cover we had as they made a charge towards the spire. I fired my rifle at the banished force that was closest to the structure, taking them down in waves, holding them off as much as I can so Dutch isn't overwhelmed. As I reloaded and readied myself for another wave, that's when I saw the most beautiful sight. A wraith began carving a path through the incoming forces. It was armoured with extra plating and had sharp spikes on its front lower lip of the vehicle. Unlike the Covenant's wraiths, the Banished preferred a much more rugged, armoured look, painted in red and white. I had to give the brutes credit. Their sense of style was a lot better than the organic purple-looking design that the Covenant used to have. The wraith rammed down all that was in front of it, blasting huge red bolts of plasma the size of a small car towards the now fleeing Banished. I instantly knew what was going on. The rookie made it to the forerunner structure that Dutch and I was defending. He opened up the cockpit hatch on the top of the wraith and motioned me to jump on the mounting turret just in front of the driver's seat. "You sure know how to make a guy feel special, rookie," I said with a smug grin now lined across my face. I hopped over the barrier, landing on the gravity-defying tank. As my weight hit the wraith, it dipped slightly, before then correcting itself and raising back up, just about 2 feet off of the ground. Once I was in the turret, me and the rookie chased off the remaining waves of the Banished, firing huge bolts of superheated plasma and then complementing the explosive shots with my plasma turret, taking out the stragglers. "Good work, rookie," Dutch shouted over the comms in satisfaction. As what little remained of the once formidable force had since retreated, the rookie piloted the wraith to regroup with Dutch, floating the heavy tank back to our makeshift defences. Dutch dropped down from the structure and hit the ground below him with a thud, and walked towards our heavy armour. "That sure scared him off," Dutch said. He wasn't wrong either. Just because one Spartan got a hold of one of their heavily armoured toys, it forced them to run for their lives. Amusing, seeing that at the beginning we were completely outgunned. They must have wanted this spire for something. No way they would send a force that big just for recon. They're looking for something. The rookie and I hopped back out of the alien tank and walked towards Dutch. In reply, Dutch nodded his head in agreement. "Yeah, maybe this spire has some intel on the Halo." He holstered his shotgun back onto his back. Dutch's armour was once again very similar to Buck's, only it had minor differences. Once again, his armour was also a Helljumper styled Mjolnir, but with his own personal differences. For example, much like his original ODST armour, his Helljumper helmet had a skeletal jaw painted underneath the visor, along with an orange stripe that went over the top of the helmet, very similar to the rookie's white stripe. His armour also had extra hard cases covering the sides of his chest plate as well as his left calf and upper right thigh. Dutch was armed to the teeth. He carried a large amount of ammo in his armour. "Did you find anything here when you sweeped the place?" I asked, out of mild curiosity, half expecting the answer. "Negative. Nothing but grey metal and the blue light that seems to rhythmically choose to shoot up into the sky." I looked up at the tall spire. Once again, it launched another blue light that seemed to disappear off into the middle of the ring-shaped installation. "Well, we should probably leave before more of the banners show up. No sense in sticking around. You see any more smoke around?" Dutch looked around, searching the ring's inverted horizons for a plume of smoke revealing itself, only instead to see a huge, battle-hardened, banished lich, an incredibly dangerous airborne vehicle of mass destruction, and a hell of a lot bigger than a phantom. Gunny?" Dutch said as I cast my eyes east of our location. "What is it, Dutch?" I don't think our brute pals were running from us. I turned to ask him what he meant, when I looked above the tree line to see the huge aerial tank slowly heading towards us. "Looks like they were making room for more firepower," I said, holstering my rifle. "We have to move right now. Head to that cliff wall. I think I see a cave," I shouted, pointing towards the location. Dutch and the rookie asked no more questions, abandoning the now redundant wraith and sprinting as fast as we could out of the lich's firing range. A heavy bombardment of flurrying plasma blasted at our feet as we ran, some hitting us and causing our Mjolnir armor system energy shieldings to glow up. As we ran, I looked to my left to see a flock of around 5 banshees heading towards our location at ludicrous speeds. "Double time, Alpha 9. Don't make me drag your asses into that cave," I said between panting for air. I don't think I've ever ran that fast before. As a Spartan, we've got all kinds of superhuman augmentations, but I think this is the hardest I'd push them to get to safety. As we closed the gap, the rookie was the first one to reach the entrance, unslinging his SMG and firing at the oncoming banshees whilst me and Dutch also caught up. A powerful blast of heavy plasma fire once again splashed down next to my feet, causing my shields to completely discharge. Luckily, I just made it to the entrance where the rookie gave some fire back to the screaming bansheed fighters. Dutch was the last one to make it to the entrance, but not a moment too soon. Just as he made it, the lich sent a massive plasma bolt slamming just above the entrance of the cave, causing the rocks above to erode a lot quicker than what they normally would have. Their falling rocks hit the floor in front of us and completely covering up the cave's entrance. Dutch had dived to get in just in time. Struggling to catch his breath, he stands up. "What the hell was that thing?" Dutch asked in slight relief. "A lich, but with more of a punk rocker theme to it, with all its armoured plates and spikes. Don't you think, rookie?" I glanced at his position to see him nod his head and have his weapon pointed towards the now pitch-black cave. "Well, let's keep moving. Hopefully we're not..." A gargling scream echoed through the cave, coming from deeper within. Dutch and I joined the rookie and raised our weapons at the ready. That did not sound like a brute.